the third graders from Castle Bay Elementary School. Do you know where you are?
Yes.
Where are you?
We're in Topanga Park.
Yes, you're in Topanga Canyon and Topanga State Park. And today you're going to be learning about the Tongva and Chumash, Native Americans. You're going to be experiencing some of their ways, their old ways, and some of their new ways. The program is going to be divided into two parts. The first part, we're going to be visiting stations that will let us participate in the actual activities of these people. And then the second hour, we're going to go on some trails and explore, find some of the maybe plants and animals that they would use to feed themselves, to clothe themselves, maybe to make their home. My name is Linda, and I'm going to be your naturalist or your outdoor educator today. So a couple of the rules are basically stay behind me while we're down at the station. Just kind of follow me, and then later on when we do our hike, we're going to be on trails, and then a lot of times we'll have a single file line. So our first activity today is going to be sand painting. So let's walk down to the sand painting activity center. Follow me. I wanted to introduce Kelly too. She's our camera woman. So she's taking just pictures of us today doing some of the activities. So some of the new people that come into our program and want to be naturalists, they'll be able to view something and let them know more about the program. So she's just going to be kind of close to me. So this is sand painting. This is a cave painting. You think if we took a hike for maybe an hour and a half, we might find a cave that has a painting similar to this. Yes, this was something that the Chumash in particularly did. So they would find caves, and typically the religious people would make the painting. And of course, they couldn't go to Costco or Home Depot for their paint.
There's no such thing.
No such thing. So how would they make their paint be full of color? Think about everything they needed came from nature, from their environment around them. What has color here up in the Santa Monica Mountains?
Leaves?
Yeah, so plants have different colors. What about rocks? Yes. So that's why we have bins on either end, because we have ground up rock. That's a nice brown color that we're going to do our sand paintings in. And what could make it stick to the cave wall? What's something that's sticky around here, I wonder?
Sap?
Sap, yes, there could be some sap, particularly from some of the trees and the different plants, yes.
Moss?
Possibly.
Honey? Like
Honey? Yes. And also when there were bears here, some of the bear fat was kind of sticky. We had actually grizzly bears here. So anyhow, they would mix some gooey liquid with some colored rock or some pigment from plants. And that's what we're going to be doing here, is kind of showing how to create one of these sand paintings with materials that we have today that are natural.
Would they use blood?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised, but I never heard of that. That's a thought. So let me explain how you're going to do your sand painting today. Why do you think artists make pictures? Why do artists make? I mean, this was an artist that created this. Why do we make art?
For us to have fun.
To have fun. That might be one of the reasons that they did cave art. What about a special celebration? A birthday, maybe a birth, maybe the summer solstice. So we don't really know the meaning of these, but they definitely had meaning to the Native Americans that created them.
Maybe too for other kids to learn about stuff.
Yes, because in the Chumash and Tongva culture, it was an oral. They passed down traditions and gave lessons basically through talking, not writing. So your cave is going to be the sandpaper, okay? And the way you're going to do this, in these containers, is the glue. Here's your brush. I'm going to make just one little design. You're going to basically cover your piece of sandpaper with designs. You see the one little mark I made? Now I'm going to lay this piece of sandpaper with a rough side and glue side up. You're going to put your hand in this wonderful round rock. Cover up your glue. And magic. It's my raindrop. So when you look in the middle here, you can see some designs that were actually found on some of these caves, on cave walls. That can be an idea that can be incorporated into your sand painting, or you can just look around you and see what inspires you. So have your cave painting based, on nature. Okay, take one piece of sandpaper and pass it down. And before you begin, you're going to write your name on the flat side, the one that's not rough. And then after you have your name on it, then you can find a paintbrush and start making your design with the glue. Yeah, you write on the smooth side. On the smooth side. Is it
Christian, you guys have to put your last name.
Yes. Hey, it's on the red. It's on the red.
Are you finding some insects?
I found one. I want to do that one. Just put it here.
You're going, oh, that's an interesting idea. It's right there for you. It's a good model. So yes, once in a while we have lots of insects up in this oak canopy, and once in a while they will drop down maybe on a thread and say hello to us. And you'll once in a while see them crawling on the picnic table, just like he saw that little red insect right there, and that's what he's going to do his painting of.
What is
Christian, you're going to have so much easier time if you go around and sit on the other side next to Jordan, close to the paint.
Oh, what does it look like?
it? Looks red.
Oh no, we have another critter too. Christian, what do you think that looks like? Just look at it. What do you think it looks like? Is it plant or animal?
Animal.
Animal, yes. Is it fuzzy?
You
Yes.
guys can.
Does it have little antenna?
Looks like a caterpillar.
Uh-huh. That's what we might call it. It's a tussock moth
Can't go
caterpillar.
wrong in this one.
And it spent its earlier life up in the oak leaves, and now it came down on a thread. And is it alive? But you can just let it kind of be. So when we find these insects, we just kind of want to let them be and enjoy them. He's probably looking for a spot to pupate, become a cocoon, and eventually it will become a moth. There's probably some more of those tussock moth caterpillars on the picture table too.
I did one. Is there one? Is there one?
There's one, a little one right here. And all of a sudden, yes, now you're seeing them. This one is a little bit larger and longer.
Look at that one. It's moving right there.
Yes,
There's
there's
one right there
one.
too.
So you're done.
There's so many. Look at that.
Ask her. Ask Linda.
No,
You have a question? Okay.
I just flipped an ant in here. I just flipped an ant in there.
A bucket, a container stand at each end, but come over here. We're going to do this one at a time. So just lay it down with the glue up, and then get your hand into this and just cover it all up.
You know, teachers change and they found something else. Last year we didn't think of what we wanted to do.
And after you totally cover it up, grab a corner and let the sand fall back into the bucket. Yeah. And then sometimes what I do is I just kind of knock it. Magic! So there is your sand painting. That turned out great. And one of the best spots that we can put this to dry is up in the barbecue because it's sheltered from the wind. So let me show you. Here, you can carry it. Let me show you how to place it in the barbecue. So you can go ahead. Are you ready? So just lay it down with the glue side up. Get your hands in there and cover it up. And we also have a container down there. You can take the lid off.
Ready? So just put it here. And then grab and there you go. Good job. And then lift this up and then shake it off.
How was that ant still alive? I glued it.
So you guys want to go by the barbecue?
Cool. I only saw the one.
Looks like a bunch of F.
Yeah.
Sand painting.
A lot of them are cut.
Interesting designs. And after they dry, probably after lunch, your teacher will pick them up and bring them back to the classroom, and I guess she'll decide what she'd like to do with them. Sometimes teachers display the paintings. I don't know. What are you planning on doing with those
I usually do hang them up, but we're kind of at the end, so we'll probably take them home right away.
Okay. Well, it's a great
Cool.
souvenir from the, Topanga State Park.
Yeah.
So now we are going over. Oh, let's go play a game. A game that the Chumash and Tongva would play.
Yeah. Daddy!
Where?
Right there.
What? You guys are funny.
Looks like it's here dead better bet. It's ham.
What is that?
Yeah,
It's a
where?
rat. It's fake.
Look, it's ham.
Just scoot over a little.
So some of you can come over here, and you'll be able to hear me a little bit more. So,
No.
so we will be doing a game after we learn about some of the items that they use in their everyday life. Okay? We have two containers here. One container, see if you can, I'm going to show you both containers filled with items.
I want to see the dead rat one.
And you let me know which one represents the Chumash culture.
That one.
That one. This one. Why do you say this one? Yes?
Because like those are the things that they kind of use and those are like more like they didn't have those in the here. They didn't really have them here.
So these are items that came from nature that were a part of their environment, and they needed to learn how to use these items to take care of themselves. If you think about your household, does this look like items you might find in your household today?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so they used items from nature, and in our culture, a lot of the items are made from oil, they're processed, they're made in a factory. But they can be used for the same purposes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass out an item to each of you from our culture. And think about what you use it for.
Oh, that actually feels like a blanket.
I got a bowl. You got a bowl.
I'll switch.
Yeah, what do you go?
You're curious. I got a bowl. What's he gonna do with that?
No, you have to give it to Andy. Andy's just like a mess.
Good idea.
Okay, this is yours. That's his.
I get a string. Don't give it to her. She's a savage. You get a string.
I'll definitely trade you a string.
You can't trade. I eat it. I got whatever this is. Yes. I got the biggest thing in the world. I got this. What did you get? What is it? What is that? That looks like so hard tofu. So, let me see it. I have to. What is that?
I need to open that up to see what it is.
It's 100 years old.
Okay, so you are exploring. As all of you are exploring the everyday items from our present day culture. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be holding up an item from the Chumash or Tonga culture. And if you think what you have in your hand is used in the same way, then raise up your item, okay?
I can't find the face now.
Because they can remove the face.
So here is a plant. It's a willow plant. It's leaves. What the Chumash Tonga would do, they would grind it up, and if they had a headache, they would ingest it. They would swallow it.
Is it like a
Who
herb?
has medicine from our present day culture?
What?
You.
Yeah, aspirin.
You have aspirin.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I do.
Yeah, so actually this actually has the same chemical that would be found in there. It's aspirin. So here, you can keep those two together.
Okay. I think I get a basket.
Aspirin. So here's an item from their culture. Where would this be found? Ocean, on a rock. What's it called?
Shell.
Seashell.
What kind of shell?
Plant.
Mussel.
Big, yeah, big mussel.
Mussel
So they would collect the mussels, they would eat the animal inside, and they would use it as a, yes. So could you pass the spoon? So the Native American items, if you could be very careful with them, then I can pass them out to you.
I see a deer.
Deer.
Yeah, there's a deer.
Oh, stop. Wait. Do you see a deer?
Yeah,
Stay where you are,
two.
and if you look on that hillside,
Oh my gosh, there's deers.
Two.
so just stay where you are and look on that hillside.
But that looks like a moose. No, that looks like a moose, not a deer.
It's probably there's one moose, one deer.
So look at Milani. Look at their heads. Can you see the heads on some of them?
Yeah.
What is on the head of one?
Her name is Melanie.
Melanie.
Yeah, Melanie.
Yes. What do you call those on deer heads?
Antler?
Yes, antlers. So do you think that's male or female?
Male.
Female. So only males have the antlers. You are so lucky to be able to see deer today.
I spotted it.
So there's a male deer, and it looks like there's a couple of female deers possibly laying down in the same area. We can talk about antlers later.
I see it through the leaves. There's not that
So,
much.
getting back.
I spotted it. Getting back.
Okay, getting back to comparative culture. Here we have some seashells and little slices of shells that have holes in them. They would string them around their neck, and if they wanted what you have, you would give them this in exchange. What would this be called?
Money.
Who has money in from our culture? Yes. So they would use sliced shells. Yes, you have
Those actually look like her cheer.
Here's another shell.
Oh, is that a bowl?
Abalone. Had a very tasty animal that you could eat in here. But then it would have this nice, colorful shell
That is
left.
so beautiful.
And they would make jewelry out of it. And what else would they use it for? Yes, that's right. And he's holding up his bowl. Be careful of that.
Be careful, Andy.
Oh,
That's
look
what I
at
get.
this.
Straw.
So is this, do you think, is made from a plant or an animal?
There's deer up there.
Yes, it's made from the yucca plant. And we will see some yucca. They would take one of the leaves and rub it and turn it into twine. You have twine or something that can tie things.
Yeah.
Oh,
First one.
here you go.
Straw.
So here we have black rock. A really hard rock. And it has sharp edges. Obsidian.
Let me see. Minecraft.
And they could cut with it. They would use this as arrow points. Who has something that is sharp and can cut? A knife. So be careful with it.
I got some plants in Minecraft.
Obsidian. Is that a cigarette?
From the Chumash culture.
Cheerios.
You can't
Dude, that's not a cigarette.
Why would that?
Acorns.
What is a
So
cigarette?
they would have to process acorns to make their primary part of their diet. And this is an example from our culture, Cheerios.
Yeah, Cheerios.
Okay, somebody calls this a rat.
Oh,
Well, in some ways it's very similar to a rat because this animal also has fur just like a rat. What kind of animal do you think this came from?
Squirrel.
raccoon.
Squirrel.
Deer.
What?
Bear. Squirrel. Raccoon. Squirrel. Squirrel. Deer. Bear.
Stop saying bear. A raccoon.
Bear, deer, squirrel.
Has a white cottontail, long ears.
Bunny.
Rabbit. So this came from a rabbit. So the Chumash and Tongva people, they would kill an animal primarily for meat, but then they would use every part of the animal also, like the fur. So who has something warm from, yes.
We should have gotten it.
You guys look really cute. Seriously,
Well,
Melanie.
you can touch it. Use
this
the
is like
back
a
of your
microphone.
hand, like
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
and go with
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
You just feel like but we might have time to let everyone touch it. But for now, please touch it.
I got some aspirin. I got medicine. Oh, an acorn.
So they had time to play games. So their dreidel or their spinning top was made out of an acorn and a little
Wait, is that a cigarette? Is that a cigarette?
Okay, feel that. See if it's smooth or rough.
Isabella.
So,
Yeah.
feel this. Is that smooth or rough?
Not too rough.
Rough. Those maybe are worn out, but that's pretty rough. Does somebody else have something that's rough?
She does.
You have sandpaper. Is that rough? So,
What is it?
what do you think? Is this a plant or an animal?
Plant. It's from bark.
Animal. It's from a shark. So they would use this as sandpaper. So you two are sharing this. You two can touch this. Yes. Shark.
Oh, God.
Oh, a brush.
There is a plant that we might be seeing on our hike called a soap lily.
That looks like a tail.
And this brush was made from the soap lily plant. In addition to being able to make brushes out of the soap lily, it had a giant bulb. And if they squished it and threw it in the water, what do you think would bubble up?
Soap.
soap. So they made soap from the soap plant.
I knew that was soap. I said it was soap or a really hard tofu.
And of course, here is another mussel here.
It's
Did
my
I give
brother.
out 2 spoons or just 1 spoon?
One spoon.
1 spoon.
Uno.
Okay, raise your hand if you don't have an item from both cultures.
I think Spanish. No.
Everybody has an item from 2
No,
cultures?
that's his. No.
Yeah, we all have an item.
Okay.
What's this? From this.
No, they're sharing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could place, I'm going to come around with this and container, and you're going to put in our culture items.
I get straw and a string.
Okay, our
I
culture.
got soap and a
find
brush.
in your
Good for
house.
you.
Oh, that looks like a cow tail.
And this is what you find.
That looks like a cow tail. It looks like a horse. It looks like a baby horse.
Your house.
Andy.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, you need to put the lid on the other one. Our culture.
Can I keep this?
Oh, yes.
Not back. Whatever you want to call it.
The bottom.
So the Chumash Tongva items that you're holding, do most of those items decompose?
No.
They turn into soil?
It looks like this one does.
Yeah, they will all decompose. Everything you have will eventually decompose. That's one of the big differences from their culture and our culture. A lot of our culture items will
Not a
not be
cigarette.
decomposing. So,
Wow,
Do you use medicine?
that, and I'll bring that around.
it looks like.
Okay, this goes in the back.
I thought you don't like
Shark skin, just like the
I have
Okay, I'm going to pass one of them around. Thank you.
Because you never said it.
So, Kieran, could you kind of hold it and have her feel it? And I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab this.
You know she's recording.
I'll start on that side. You come on this side. Because that's really cool to feel that shark skin. They love to feel that. So I'm going to come around behind you, and if you want to touch the rabbit skin, use the back of your hand. This would keep them very warm, or they would wrap their babies. Back of your hand, back of your hand. Because your front of your hand has a lot of oil. So if you were a baby or you were cold, wouldn't this be really nice? Wrapped in?
Wrapped by a rabbit.
Would you like to feel it?
Why would a baby be like covered by a rabbit?
Okay, did you want to feel it? Remember how to do it back of the hand?
Where do you buy it?
Okay.
Buy that.
It's shark skin.
I didn't even do it. Shark skin.
Okay, I have a feeling that you might be wanting to play a game. So let's walk on over here to the PlayStation.
No. The PS4.
Do you want a chair, Kelly?
No.
It's gone.
So the Tongva and Chumash Native Americans, they had a lot of extra time. And so they enjoyed playing competitive games. A couple of the games they would play would be with walnut dice. There are walnut trees in Topanga, and and they would gather the walnuts in the fall, collect some of the nuts, maybe eat them, and then some of the walnut shells they would turn into walnut dice. This black material, if you walk along the beach, you might get this stuck on the bottom of your foot. What do you call that sticky black material that oozes out of the sand? And if you're walking along the beach, you go, oh, there's that black, and you try to get it off. Tar. So this is what you would find along the beach. So they would also use tar to make their baskets waterproof, their tomals and canoes waterproof also. So they would play with walnut dice. We're going to play with another type of dice. We're going to play with stick dice.
How do you roll a stick? Did you make this with the Indians?
Actually, we made these items like in a craft shop. But that's a good question, Alexander. All these activities we're doing down here, the Chumash and Tongva today are doing some of these activities. They go out and gather acorns. They hunt, they gather plants, they make games, and they play them in groups. Yes?
Is this real or did you?
It is. That's real. I think that's probably tar. Yeah. So this is stick dice, and there's a plant called elderberry that the stick dice are made out of. It's the same type of plant that my clapper stick was made out of. So you'll notice on the stick dice, one side has a pattern, and the other side has just a line, basically. It's hollowed out.
I don't get the line part.
Well, this is going to be a competition between Father Sun and Sky Coyote. Father Sun always wanted a sunny day. And if the stick dice rolls on this side, it represents a sunny day. Sky Coyote, he wanted a rainy day. And this side represents a rainy day or cloud. There's a song that goes with this game. It's called Hochi Nami, Hoya, Hoya, Hey. And that's a song that you'll want to sing to bring your classmates luck and yourselves luck. When you roll the stick dice, you'll observe which side comes up most. So here is 4 cloudy days. Looking at me. Here's 1 sunny day. Did Father Sun or Sky Coyote win this roll?
Sky Coyote.
And what kind of day did I just roll?
A rainy day.
A rainy day. If you roll a rainy, cloudy day, you're going to take a little cloud. If I rolled a sunny day, I would get kind of an orange yellowy rock, okay? And after everybody rolls a dice, we're going to see if Father Sun or Sky Coyote won the competition. So we're going to sing it together, and the person that has the stick in their hand is going to start the song. So I'm going to start. So I'm going to start the song too, and you're going to join in, okay? Because we want to wish you luck too. Hochi Nami,
Hochi Nami,
Hoya, Hoya, hey.
Hey.
And then,
What?
so did I roll a sunny day?
Yes.
So do I take a sunny rock?
Yes.
You got it.
Cool.
Okay, start the song.
Hochi Nene, Hochi, 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 Hochi Nene. Oh. Yes. You rolled the Father Sun. Yes.
So you got a sunny rock.
Let's go.
And now
Wait, do you
maybe
keep
it's
these
your
rocks
turn.
or just put it back?
I don't have a name tag.
Oh, the rocks. You won't be keeping the rock. You like to keep things, huh, Alexander? Yeah, actually, these particularly colored rocks that are this size are kind of hard to find. One of the educators collected them over weeks. Okay, Andy. Ho chi nay me, hoya hoya hey.
Sunny.
No, everyone's getting sunny.
Oh yeah, because
I bet my luck is gonna turn around and I'm gonna get the worst one. I'm gonna get Sky Coyote.
I hope
Ho chi nay me,
Ho chi nay me, hoya hoya hey.
sunny.
That one was this.
No, it was.
No, it was. It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I want to be the
Okay,
opposite.
Kristen.
I want to be the same as
Ho
my
chi nay me, ho chi nay me, hoya hoya hey.
Sun.
Everyone's getting sun.
Wait, so you have to see which rock you get? Like do you just pick a rock and then?
Yeah, because they're either gray or they're orange.
Well, how orange is
So sunny days are orange rocks and cloudy days are gray rocks, like a cloud.
like this?
Ho chi nay me, hoya hoya hey.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Ho chi nay me, ho chi nay me, hoya hoya hey.
She got coyote. She's like, dang it.
Well, we need sunny and rainy days.
No, we need sunny.
No, we need rainy days
Yeah,
for the
for-
plants
And the animals.
And us. You have to start it.
Nay me, ho chi nay me, hoya hoya hey.
Sunny. Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
Right now, he's gonna be the only one that gets
Okay.
Ho chi nay me,
No, she gets to start the song.
Go.
Ho chi nay me, ho chi nay me, hoya hoya hey.
Sunny.
Wow, sunny.
We're sunny.
Now the mountains are gonna be brown.
Alexander.
All the mountains are gonna be
Ho chi nay me, ho chi nay me, hoya hoya hey.
I can't even see. I can't see.
We're running out of sunny.
Do we have?
Oh.
Do we have any sunny?
Yeah,
that's
we're
one.
all
That's one.
sunny.
Natalie.
Wow, that's unusual.
This is one.
Wow, we don't have many sunny days left, huh? Nay me, ho chi nay me, hoya hoya hey.
Yay, sunny.
Oh, I got sunny rock in there.
We're sunny.
Look at
Oh, she got
rainy
a green
rocks.
one. Really?
Yeah, that's how it works. It's so unusual to have 5 come up the same, and yeah, it works.
Bravo.
We only have time for one round.
Now many wins of
Amy.
Ho chi nay me,
Hoya, hoya,
hey.
Oh.
Wow,
Same
back
thing
to
I
that sunny.
Sunny.
I got 50.
No, that's
Oh,
all.
this
That's
one
rainy.
actually has a
Except for
little-
Natalie and Melanie.
Well, it's very
Hoya hoya hey.
Okay, you know, it's so unusual to have run out of one color of rock. That's never happened before.
Today we have the most orange
So,
one.
if
orange
you
wins.
have a rainy rock, put it in the basket. There's only 3 rainy days. Okay, now if you have a sunny rock, put it in the basket.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11.
So did Father, Son, or Sky
Father,
Coyote
Son.
win?
Let's go.
So, every group that comes to the gaming station will have a little different rules with this game. This is how I like to play it. Chumash and Tonga sometimes would play this game to kind of influence the weather and the way the weather showed up. But today in our role, it's like, wow, we're going to have a lot of sunshine coming out. And only a little bit of moisture. When that fog comes into Topanga, though, that brings moisture. That could be considered kind of a rainy day. Okay. Now, I'm hoping that the acorn grinding station is available so we can go grind some acorns.
Yay! You guys
This tree. What kind of tree is this? What do you think?
I completely forgot, but it's good for sniffing.
It makes acorns.
It's an acorn tree.
Or an oak tree.
Wait, we have one of
And
these
when
at
we
school.
go under the oak tree, you'll notice the temperature changes. When you come into the shade, you'll see 4 bowls, 4 mortars. And you're going to kind of divide yourselves evenly amongst the mortars. And then we're going to process some acorns, like the Chumash and Topanga do. So come on.
13 divided by 4. 4 divided by 13. Yeah. Wow, that's
Whoa. The temperature's high.
You can sit there, Kelly, or here.
Come down low. Get under your hat.
Yeah, this is that's sideways. And it comes in here. We have oh my god! Stop. There's no
So there's 3 students for this bowl. There's 4. You know, there's 4 students in this group and only 2 over there. Let's have one more student over there.
Andy.
Yeah, thank you, Andy.
Going to the top of one.
Okay.
Don't take that.
What is most likely to happen?
Oh no.
You know why I like having a clapper stick? It sure does, doesn't it? So this is an instrument that was used by the Tongva and Chumash in their dances. This is their primary instrument, and I use it for pointing to things or to getting students' attention. Okay, is there something over here? So it looks like we are saving a tussock moth caterpillar. Is that what it is?
It's like a spider, right?
Or it's a spider. Thank you. So I like
Oh,
to
you were
read.
so brave right until the last moment.
No, I'm not brave.
So don't go back.
Okay, I like how you're reacting to these little animals and insects we're finding. You're enjoying them, you're observing them, but you're giving them their space and allowing them to live, because this is their habitat. Here at Topanga State Park, one of the reasons that Topanga State Park was created is to protect plants and animals. And humans are invited to come and enjoy the plants and animals, but not to bother them. We stay on trail. And the quieter you are, the more you're going to hear. And you're so quiet right now. What do you hear?
A bird.
So when you're in the oak woodlands, there's a lot of birds in these trees. Okay, so we are under an oak tree. How does the temperature feel right now that we're in the oak?
It's warm and cool.
Yeah, it's cool right here, much cooler than out there.
Am I blocking you?
So the coast live oak, which is this kind of tree, produces this kind of acorn.
Can we eat those?
Oh, eventually you could, after you process it.
Wait, but
You'll,
there's a bug.
oh, there's,
There's a bug on
yeah, there is, yeah, he's okay just having it walk. Did you want us to flick the insect off, or do you just want to leave it there? Okay, he's enjoying it, and no harm done.
Natalie.
Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'm going to put 1 acorn in each mortar, and I want you just to feel the acorn.
Do you guys
See what
recognize
it
this
feels
from
like. Could you pass this?
Sign Beaver?
Yes.
So let's.
Remember the Indian women had the mortars.
They were crushing the acorns and the.
They're crushing acorns too, right?
Yeah, they're crushing acorns and corn.
We read a novel that's set in like 1700s in Maine.
Oh, okay. They're familiar with it a little bit.
Is this?
Okay, has everybody felt the acorn? How does it feel? How does it feel?
We found another one and inside it feels like really fuzzy.
Oh yeah, it's fuzzy inside, and what does the outside feel like? The outside, smooth, yeah. So, are there animals in Topanga that will eat these acorns just how they are? What animal here in Topanga might eat the acorn with the shell and all?
Squirrels.
Squirrels, maybe. What about deer?
Maybe.
Yeah, even birds use this as food. They kind of peck into it. Humans, would we want to take an acorn and put this in our mouth? No. Why?
Because it's like
What's on the outside?
Shell.
The shell. So what do you think the Chumash and Tongva, what's the first thing they would do with this acorn?
take up the shell.
Yeah. But let's get back to how they would gather the acorns. What season would these acorns mature on the tree enough so that the women of the tribe could go out and gather them and hit the branches, and the acorns would fall into baskets that they had woven? Would that be summer or fall? What do you think? Fall, that's right. So that was an important fall activity. What are you recording over there?
There's a lizard.
A lizard, okay.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully we see another lizard on our hike.
Still going.
Okay, so in the fall, is the lizard, oh, here it goes. It's behind.
All right, focus.
Okay. So, so they would gather the acorns in the fall and bring them back to their village, and they would spread them out and dry them. Then they would store them up high in baskets that they had made. And during the year, they would take so many acorns and process them for that meal and cook with them. But meanwhile, they had a storage bin for the entire year. So, I'm going to pass out pestles to each one of you. What you're going to be doing, since you'll need to crack the acorn, you're going to hold one end of the pestle, Andy. You're going to hold one end of the pestle, and you're just going to hit it once, because everybody gets to do each process once, okay?
So everybody's in.
Everyone's going to one for time for you, then you're going to pass the pestle to your classmate. Okay.
He was the one that said it first.
Here's your pestle. Andy, yours is going to be rolling. No, I guess it didn't roll. So one crack for everybody.
Ooh, you are so strong, huh?
One crack on the acorn. And after everybody gets a chance,
Tell her that one's rotten.
after everybody cracks the acorn, then you're going to separate. Oh, sometimes that happens.
We're gonna separate
Here,
it.
have another one.
That tastes good.
Now you're going to separate the shell from the nut. When you find the shell, just throw it in the leaf litter to decompose.
Don't eat it later. Don't eat it.
Give me this. Oh, I see a little shell.
So have we finished separating the shells and the nut?
That tastes like wine. That sounds like the shell, the acorn. I don't know why.
Okay.
It tastes sweet.
So the next process they did is they would grind. You know, so watch me. You're not pounding it, you're grinding it. So it kind of looks like flour. So now pass the pestle around, and everyone's going to be grinding the acorn. Hold one end and put pressure on it and grind. That's it. Oh, I'm starting to see some flour. Keep grinding until it looks like flour.
Yeah, we're gonna take it.
Okay, yeah, that's generally right. It does taste bitter.
So they did a couple things. They would soak
Does
it
it turn
to get some of the bitterness out. soak it in water.
Okay, I think
And then
that's,
they would
I
put in,
see
like,
a lot of
berries and honey
flour
and
in
stuff.
each of the bowls. So if you could hand me the pestles and we'll talk about how they continue to process the acorn. Thank you. So there's acorn flour in all the bowls.
Can we eat it?
Can you eat it? Humans can't. They have to do one more thing in particular to get rid of the acids that could make your stomach upset. Water, what would they do with the water? Andy?
They would put the water in the water.
Somehow they would wash that acorn flour. Generally what they would do is they would kind of make a depression in the earth, in the soil, and they would line it with leaves. Then they'd get water, and then they'd have all their acorn flour on top of the leaves, and then they'd pour water on it so that the acid would dissipate. And now they could cook with it. How would they start a fire? With a spark. How would they make the spark?
A flint.
What'd you say?
A flint.
Yeah, maybe some rocks or flint. Yeah, rocks together. How else might they make a fire?
Rubbing sticks together.
Yes. So they would make a little flame, and they would gradually bring bigger sticks and then bigger sticks, and then they would put these round rocks in the fire to heat, and then they'd have a container of probably a cooking pot made out of soapstone, and they would put it directly on those embers, and then they'd take the hot rocks, maybe using an antler. So if your rocks are in the fire, sometimes they might use like an antler to pick up the hot rocks to put in their cooking bowl. And they would cook the acorn flour and water. They might add some berries and meat. And this is what they would do for all their meals. Their main part of their meal was acorn in some fashion. They'd make patties or something like acorn oatmeal, so to speak. Yes?
For them to light a fire, they would get a big stick and they would smoothen it out. So they would kind of make it like this, put it on a piece of wood, and then they kept doing this.
Yes. And eventually you get a little spark down at the bottom.
I saw that thing out.
Yes, there's many ways to start a flame. And that was a really important thing to learn, is how to start a fire so they could feed themselves and be warm. Okay, we're going to keep the acorn flour in the bowls for the next group to enjoy. And you know what? It is time to wander off in the woods and discover for ourselves some of the plants and animals that call Topanga home.
Actually go down
There is, and I will point it out to you.
I did this at Skeleton and I was traveling and I said poison oak in my favorite, then I just said, but I said poison oak.
How many were in our group? You know? Do you
I
remember?
think I think a lot of ants. There's 12 in our group.
12 in our group.
It's like an army of ants.
Yeah, we have everybody.
So are we waiting on one more person or not?
Ooh, a kite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12.
Good. Okay, we're going to go over in this direction.
Okay. I want to do this guy. I want to do the second one. I want to do the second option. Jump down there. Whoa. Oh God.
We're just going to take a couple minutes because I just wanted to show you some of the animals that call Topanga home. We already saw one, the mule deer.
Yeah.
The largest animal here is the mountain lion. We have about 8 mountain lions in the Santa Monica Mountains. They're having kind of a hard time because their habitat is surrounded by freeways, so they have a hard time meeting new partners of their same species. So hopefully we will find the money to put a bridge across some of these freeways or a tunnel under the freeway so the gene pool can mix and they can find mates. So anyhow, mountain lions, most of them have electronic collars because they're so important to the ecosystem up here in the mountains that we want to learn more about them and protect them. So we have bobcats. Big difference between mountain lion and bobcat is size, particularly of the tail. Look how short that tail is. We might see some of these or hear them. We're going to go down by the pond. We're going to keep our eyes open to see if we find. There are lots of birds here. Birds of prey have big claws. They fly up high and they can see way down below the little snakes and lizards to find. Coyotes, you might have some in your neighborhood.
Yes.
Well, we have some snakes, many different kinds of snakes, including the rattlesnake. If you get too close, how does a rattlesnake warn you? Oh, I'm here and don't bother me. How does it warn you? Yeah, there's a rattle sound. Yeah. And they will do everything to keep away from you. So one of the reasons we stay right in the middle of the trail is so we can see what's ahead of us, so we can make sure we give the animals room. If we do happen to come across a rattlesnake, we basically kind of stay where we are and I'll direct you to basically move away. But I haven't seen many this year. Okay, I want to take you down to the pond. We didn't have a pond that was very big last year, but because of all of our rain, we have a lot more water here up in the Santa Monica Mountains, including a big pond. So let's line up behind me, single file behind me, and off we go to the pond.
Single file.
I like how most of you are being pretty quiet, so you can hear the birds and you can notice what's around you. Yes, here are some vinca flowers. It's springtime, so we'll probably be seeing some more flowers too.
You know, we could just walk in there, right?
Yeah,
It's not that bad. Walk up.
So we're kind of walking in a ditch, aren't we?
yeah.
Why is there like a little ditch here? What's been running down this direction? Water. So this is an example of erosion, isn't it? The reason I stopped right here is I'm looking ahead to where we're going to be walking, and I'm already seeing some animals that developed because we have a pond. So watch where you're walking and see what's right ahead of you. They're only about this big. What do you think they might be? Think to yourself. Look where you're walking. Look where you're walking.
Frogs.
I almost stepped on one. Where? Oh, right there.
Wait, that's no, it's not.
Well, there's a ton
Oh
of
yeah,
them.
that's one. But some of the other ones. Ticks. froggies.
Yes, there's lots of frogs and toads. And along the side of the pond, you're going to see some frogs and toads that are early on in their life cycle.
How about tadpoles?
So when female frogs and toads lay eggs, they lay them in the water. They develop in the water. And what do they become? They kind of swim along. What do you call it?
Tadpoles.
Tadpoles. Well, you're going to have the opportunity to see lots of tadpoles down here. So if you kind of just walk carefully, just find your way and get close enough so you can see the tadpoles. Can you see the tadpoles?
Totally not gonna fall in and totally not gonna climb up the branches.
Closer.
Yeah, definitely not gonna happen, right? Totally. Not gonna go on those branches and then get something. Yeah.
Look along the edge of the pond.
Check that out, tadpoles.
There's lots of frogs under there. and toads.
Oh, I see them. I see them too. There's tadpoles. What's going on?
Are those tadpoles or
Okay, these are the frogs.
tadpoles?
But look along the edge of the pond.
You okay?
Oh, are you?
Yep, I'm okay. I had a hat on.
Look along the edge. Don't go any further. That's far enough. Stop.
They're all in here.
Those are frogs.
Guys, the
But when they're younger, they're tadpoles.
Oh, look at it.
Look at the edge of the pond. Here, no, here. Excuse me. See over here? Look at the edge of the pond. Do you see those little black
Yeah.
tadpoles swimming at the side? So that's an earlier stage of the toads and the frogs. So why do you think we have all this huge pond this year? We had so much rain, so we have this huge pond, and so the animals have a lot to drink. These amphibians can come and lay their eggs and they can develop because this water is going to be here for a while. Do you have a comment or question? Well, they're developing. Yeah, what do you think about temperature? Do you think it's warmer along the side or in the middle of that pond?
Oh, we talked about this, you guys. Do you think it's warmer along the side or in the middle?
Side.
The side. So it appears that they like that warmth. So has everybody seen a tadpole? Raise your hand if you've seen a tadpole, because we're not going to turn around till everyone's seen a tadpole. What about a frog? Raise your hand if you've seen a frog. Everybody has. This is such a cool time in the Santa Monica Mountains with all this life. So now we're going to turn around and head back on a trail. Basically, we're going to be walking back.
I'm gonna ditch that ditch. Ditch that ditch. Wait.
I'm gonna ditch that ditch.
It's single file.
We're all doing the same thing.
It's single file, Dio.
Single file. Yeah.
Okay, we want to stay in the middle of the trail.
Ditch that other ditch.
So we're waiting on the rest of the classmates. And the rocks, yeah, they're interesting. So as we move along the trail, if I want you to pick up something, I will ask you, or if I want you to feel something, I will ask you. Otherwise, we'll just kind of leave it on the ground, okay? So single file, we're going right up this trail. Okay, so just line up in this little ditch here and look towards the fence. Just line up here and look towards the fence. And see what you see. Okay, stay in the ditch. See what you see on the fence.
The fence with lizards over there. You guys never seen lizards before?
No, a lot of people haven't, and I always get excited when I see lizards.
They eat the flowers.
Okay, let's look at the two lizards. Do you see them scampering on the top part of the fence?
Yeah, it looks like they're mating.
Do you know what their name is? Western fence lizard. Gee, I wonder why they're called western fence lizard. There they are on the fence.
Are they yours?
Somebody said, are they mine? No, they are wild. All the animals here at Topanga are wild, and they live here because this habitat gives them what they need to live. Somebody said mating. Is that what you said, Alexander? So at this time of year, the male and female lizards are finding each other and hoping to reproduce. And you'll notice when you watch them doing kind of push-ups, that's a common mannerism of the western fence lizard. Can everybody see the western fence lizard?
Yeah, those are there.
It's kind of hard to see them though, isn't it?
Looks like they're camouflaging.
They are camouflaging. They are the same color as that wood. So they like to hang out on wood and rocks that are similar in color.
Do they also change
right
color?
there and one is right there.
Just to blend into other stuff, or is that just
Like a chameleon. Yeah, these western fence lizards just kind of stay that color. They don't have the ability to change with their environment.
So comedians are the only ones who change color?
There are many other animals that also change colors when what they're on is a different color. But western fence lizard, that's their color always. Let's continue.
It took like 2 hours.
So it looks like to me that I have a good hiking group because you're able to keep up with me, and I'm noticing how you're staying in the middle of the trail. So we might be able to get to the top and have a fabulous view. So let's have quiet voices so we can hear the birds. Maybe we'll see another deer. We won't scare them. We'll stop up here at a really cool plant. Have you studied about monarch butterflies?
Yes.
No.
So butterflies typically have one type of plant, one species of plant that they lay their eggs on, and their caterpillars eat the plant and develop. And there is the milkweed plant up here that the monarchs need to survive. That's what the female lays her eggs on. And I'm going to have you touch the leaves. They feel so wonderful. Let's go check it out.
I wish we were like this at school.
Why?
We're never like this at school.
That the monarch butterflies will lay her eggs on, and the caterpillars will eat the leaves. Take a hand and just feel how, just feel it. Show me how it
Wow. That feels like a blanket.
It feels like a blanket. That's
Dennis and Asher Unleashed.
Since you're real quiet, listen. Each species of bird makes a different call. Why are the birds calling each other? Why do you think?
For them to mate?
Maybe a mating call. Maybe warning. There's people coming. So this plant right here, this is the species of plant that my clapper stick is made out of. And the clapper the stick dice, it was also made out of the elderberry bush. In the fall, there's going to be these beautiful berries that birds and people sometimes make out of jelly. But as I said, all the plants here we don't pick, we don't take away the wild animals. They're just for us to enjoy.
These plants look like they've been chewed by caterpillars.
Yes, look at that's a good observation. Yeah, some insect has been nibbling on those leaves. So that's an elderberry, just what my stick is made out of. They made flutes out of this plant too. Plants that were brought here probably because of cattle feed and hay. And if we were to restore this area so that the plants that belong here can grow, we would pull those. But yes, you don't want to touch those. Those have thorns. Thistle. Lizard, a western fence lizard. Right here. Give them some room and be at your class.
So what if my shirt got stuck? No. When my shirt got stuck,
my hat.
I put the thorn on and it didn't hurt because I didn't put the poison
Okay.
ivy.
So when we look around us here, what's the sign of spring?
There's so many
Flowers?
Flowers. So will new plants next year come from the seeds of this flower?
The seeds.
Yes. So right now the flowers are making what?
Seeds.
Seeds. And insects are helping to pollinate the seeds. And those seeds will fall to the ground, and next year when the rains come, they will grow new plants. So what happens if we decide we're going to pick these flowers to make a beautiful bouquet? What would happen to next year's plant?
Die.
Right, so that's why you want to leave wildflowers growing so that they can produce next year's plants and flowers.
I can tell there's been an insect through this acorn.
So yeah, your classmate found an acorn that has a hole in it.
Jordan.
Looks like some insects been eaten in here, or maybe laying their young. So what happened to some of the oak trees here?
It got burned. No, it fell. The branches fell.
The branches fell and some of the entire trees fell. Why would trees, we have so many that have fallen. What didn't we have much of in the last number of years?
Water.
Water. So because of the drought we've been having, these oak trees just weren't able to get enough water to survive. And some insects might have gotten in there and also made them weak. So they have fallen. So now we have Mother Nature's recycling going on. What are these old oak trees going to turn into? What are they starting to turn into right now? What's under your feet? Soil. These will all decompose and turn into soil so new plants and maybe new trees can grow. Yes? You have a comment?
That kind of looks like an
Yeah, it does. Look at this shape. It's kind of like looking at clouds. Sometimes they look like alligators. Yes?
How do the leaves fall off of the trees?
How do they? They just decide it's time and they drop. But typically they don't have, water or the temperature is too hot. Something is stressing them out. That's good thinking on your part.
Also, I think I know sometimes when branches fall off, the trees completely fall down because they're off balance.
So the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, the government arm, we have an FBI of nature. You might know about it. That's decomposing these dead plants. F, think of something that's decomposing these branches that starts with an F.
Federal.
Fungus, like mushrooms. Now let's think of something that starts with a B. Why do you brush your teeth? To get rid of what?
Bacteria.
Bacteria. So bacteria is working on this to decompose it. Now you got I. What is nibbling and making holes. Insects. Right. So that's the FBI of nature. What is it? F stands for
Fungus.
B.
Fungus. Bacteria. Fungus. Bacteria. Insects.
There you go.
The fungus bacteria.
Why is
So
that
if,
tree blue?
when you come here and you're my age, these won't look like this. They'll probably be a pile of soil where new plants are growing.
Why is that?
So,
So that was a tree branch. That's
ah.
what they used to do the art.
So sometimes you will see piles of dirt, like this one. Some animal is digging under there and throwing out the dirt. Ground squirrels, gophers make tunnels underneath to live in, and then they cover them up so predators won't find them. A fire road. So we have roads like this up in the Santa Monica Mountains so the emergency vehicles can have access to maybe fight fires or help someone who's been injured.
Could you bike up here?
Pardon?
Could you bike on this road?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my dad and me
Mountain
could do
biking is very popular on these fire roads. It's a
me
nice
and my
way to enjoy the park. Okay, we're going to get on.
I want to get like a walking stick.
What's the nine for?
So some of your classmates are seeing posts with numbers on them. We were actually on the nature trail, and there is a stand just out next to the parking lot where there are brochures that you can pick up, and it will tell you what's of interest around each number, and it will give you a little map. This is actually one of my favorite trails, the nature trail. We're just going on it for a short distance. You need a little more time to cover the entire nature trail. So it's feeling still kind of cool in here. What's providing the shade?
Trees.
What kind of trees are those?
Acorn.
Oak trees. What do oak trees produce?
Acorns.
What wild animal might eat an acorn?
Squirrel and deer.
Yeah,
Or
birds
deer.
too.
Or
And of course, the Chumash and
And Jordan.
Tonga
and
would
Andy and Jordan.
eat these acorns. So now we're leaving the oak woodlands to a sunnier area called the chaparral. And you're going to notice something different right away. And we're going to kind of look down that way and see what we can see. Let's look in this direction.
Oh my god. Is that a hike trail too?
That's one of my favorite hiking trails. It goes over to an overlook. Let's look down this canyon. What do you see at the very end of that canyon?
There's a lot of green.
There is, keep going,
There's a lot of houses.
keep going, keep going.
Oh, trails.
Ocean.
Let's go.
There is Santa Monica Bay. So the Tongva and Chumash, they would have their canoes along there, and they might go over to Catalina Island to trade or to gather some sea life. All of the land that you see around you is Topanga State Park, and it's protected. It belongs to all of you. It's public land, and it's our responsibility. All of us do, because it belongs to the public. People decided this land is so important for plants and animals and a good place to enjoy that they preserved it.
So they will like get food, then go to the ocean and stuff. Like
Yeah, so the animals and the plants, you know, this is their habitat, and the animals rely on the plants. And there's a hiking trail that actually goes almost to Santa Monica Bay. So how does the temperature feel? hot. We are in the chaparral. Do the plants look different?
Yes.
Yeah, their leaves aren't as big. They're kind of low to the ground. There's a plant here that I like to feel.
It's
Yeah.
sticky. It's like really sticky.
So this leaf, I just want you to kind of rub. That's a plant that you see commonly blooming in springtime. Boys, feel the leaves of this plant. Come on down. Feel those leaves.
Could you use this as a brush? Like if you want.
But don't. So how does it feel?
Sticky.
What's the name of that flower? Sticky monkey flower.
It's very sugary.
And there's another plant around here. Deerweed. A lot of times there's pollinators on that. Okay, we're going to turn around at this point. The students that were in the front are now at the back. And the students that were in the back are now in the front. Yes, so if you were in the back, you are now in the front.
Now you guys are in the front.
Wait, Alexander.
Birds, insects, snakes, raccoons, mice. So that could be a really good home for various animals.
Yes, you just said. Now we are going down.
I know my way, but that's good you're aware of whether you're going up or down. You always, when you go hiking, you need to pay attention to the landscape around you so you don't get lost. So, usually we just see what's above the ground with an oak tree, but here we can see the whole root system. What are those roots looking for? Water and nutrients. And they spread out. There's moss.
Can you actually see them
How
move?
does it feel?
That feels super weird. That's weird. What happens here during the winter?
So because we've had so much rain and moisture, the moss is feeling typically kind of soft. Now we're going to go up a little further and then we're going to head down.
No, I have a question.
We want a single file line. Since we are going to go downhill, we particularly want to have some space in front of us. So have some space between all of you.
Okay, boys and girls, where is the space gonna be?
Behind us?
Oh, yeah, see? Okay, let's try again. Let's focus on what she's saying because it's important.
So, and what's the reason we want to have space in front of us?
So you don't fall?
Yeah, and if you fall, hopefully you don't trip the person in front of you or in back of you. So having space really works when you're hiking with a group. So we're going to be going downhill here. And on the way, we're going to see some soap lily plants. Remember the acorn grinding? Oh, that was in the comparative cultures. We saw the broom that was made out of soap lily. We're going to actually see the plant here growing in the pathway.
Protect themselves.
Yeah, so that's a way that they can be protected.
Or they can get the board.
So animals are less likely to want to nibble a plant that has thorns.
I don't like that. It's like a cactus, though. What is it?
Well, I don't know if it's an ant or a spider.
Let's say
Yeah.
it's a bee.
But there is a fabulous looking insect right down here that's bright red. It has two body parts and it has little black legs. You might see it as that was really cool.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah,
I think it's a Mommy.
point it out to your classmates.
Right there.
Don't touch it.
Hey,
though,
Andy,
just let it
technically he's in front of you.
Looking some soap lily plants. They look like the top of a corn stalk. Underneath would be the bulb that you could make soap out of.
Wait, which
This one right here.
the pink?
This one right here. This plant right here. So underneath there's a bulb, and it has bristles that you could make a hairbrush out of. And the bulb can also be used for fishing. They would squish the bulb, throw it in a quiet pool of water where the fish are, and the fish couldn't take up oxygen and they'd be stunned, and they just scoop up the fish. So the soap lily plant was used for soap. It was used to make a brush, even fishing. Right here. But animals have been nibbling the top part of it.
They don't smell like any.
Giant, very large, old.
How long has it lasted?
Probably that tree was maybe 150 years old. Yeah.
Vivian!
So you recognize this spot, this intersection.
Yeah, I do.
Where did we go when we were coming up? Right, so this was like a little loop that we took today. We're now heading back to where the picnic tables are and your lunches are. We are going downhill, so watch your footing and again have space in front of you so you don't trip a classmate.
You do want to wear it. You know you're just scratched out here? Okay, I know who your dad is. Yeah, you did. No, but you're actually hiding it. Yeah, I bet. Don't do it. Don't do it. I picked up some of these. Also, there's an ant on your hat.
So what did you say about that plant?
Oh, this is the one that smells like mint.
Yeah, so accidentally when you were rubbing it, a part came off.
Yeah, I'm holding it.
Yeah, because of
There's
course
an ant.
we always want to feel things like the plant, but we want to leave it so it can grow. So we are on our way back. This kind of is the end of the formal program. I'd like to know, when you go home tonight, what's one thing you might share with your family, friends, or neighbors that you really liked about or this trip, or what you learned? Yes.
About animals.
About the animals.
The community.
The community. We certainly walked through a lot of communities, didn't we, with plants and animals. And we talked about woodlands and chaparral.
The flowers, you know.
The flowers. Did we learn about the importance of flowers?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the girls back there? What are you going to share with your family when you get home about this experience? What's something? Huh?
Dia and Isabella.
What do you think? What? Is there an animal in particular that you might want to share? Tadpoles. What was your favorite animal?
I think it was a small frog.
The small frog. Interesting. Okay, so when you go home, create enthusiasm with your family and friends, and then maybe they'd like to come here on a hike. There's some wonderful places to wander off to early in the morning when it's kind of cool. Okay, so let's follow the trail that we came up on, and that will eventually take us to the picnic table.